Films from Sri Ramanasramam Part 1. In February of 1990, all the old films from Sri Ramanasramam were brought to New York for restoration, preservation, and reprinting. John E. Allen, INC, the major East Coast film restoration company, has been engaged for this project. The badly warped, shrunken, and brittle reels were put through a patented redimension process, enabling them to pass through the sensitive transferring machines. As work is progressing and the 35mm, 16mm, and 8mm films are closely scrutinized, certain new images are surfacing. Valuable footage is being resuscitated and other more familiar films are being enhanced. Some of the films are Government of India newsreels with a commentator's voice and background music. The distortions on these soundtracks are being corrected as we consider them a valuable legacy of the nation's interest in the then contemporary Sri Ramana Maharshi. All the details of these films, when they were taken, who took them, the individuals and events presented, and most of all, the many scenes of the Maharishi himself will, as time passes, evince greater interest and value. The restoration work presently being done will ensure that the seekers 2 or 3 centuries from now will have the same opportunity as we have to view a fully enlightened Jnani, a Jagad Guru, world teacher in his natural environs. Sri Ramanasramam is planning to make all these movies available to the public in the form of video cassettes. Perhaps by next year, the tapes will be ready. And as these films always seem to generate considerable interest, with this issue, we begin a series of articles about them. The earliest surviving footage of film comes to us from the Self-Realization Fellowship, an organization founded by Swami Yogananda, the well-known author of the autobiography of a yogi. It was during the period he was collecting material for this book that he made a visit to the Maharishi on November 29, 1935. This visit is well documented in talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Swami Yogananda with 4 others arrived at 8:45 a.m. He looks big but gentle and well groomed. He has dark flowing hair hanging over his shoulders. The group had lunch in the ashrama. A very lucid conversation then ensued between Yogananda's secretary, Mr. C.R. Wright, and the Maharishi. How shall I realize God? Mr. Wright asks. He is told to realize the true nature of the self. The Maharishi then explains what that self is and the method to realize it. Mr. Wright asks several other sincere questions to which he receives detailed and illuminating replies. Swami Yogananda asks how to effect the spiritual uplift of the people and the reason God permits suffering in the world. Suitable replies are given to him also. There is only about 30 seconds of 16mm film available from this visit, but since it was probably immediately taken back to America for developing, printing, and preserving, it is the best quality footage of all the 45 minutes of film we have. In the film, we see the Maharishi seated on a bench placed north of the old hall. He is facing south with his arms to his side and the palms of his hands flat on the bench. A crumpled towel is under his right palm. To his left is Swami Yogananda, standing next to Paul Brenton, who was visiting the ashrama then. The Swami glances at the Maharishi and exchanges a handshake with Paul Brunton. Four of the Swami's companions are kneeling or sitting to the right of the Maharishi. This film is very short and consequently an earlier editor has frozen some scenes to prolong the episode. From Mr. Wright's absence, we can infer that he was the cameraman. The most striking observation that can be made of this film is related to the Maharishi. If you focused your attention solely on him throughout the duration of this footage, you would not know that you are watching a moving picture. He is perfectly still, without even a blink of an eye. Continued in the September-October issue.